So, as governments look at governing, they have to assess a trust fund for the country for the future. Um, this is how democracy works. It's why it recycles people. I mean, it does not recycle people, but yeah, rather allows new ones to come in. Now, one of these natural assets, one of the most important, is land, and we were targeted um, because of land, and deals were made that seemed like they can't be broken without taking a great risk. The problem with that risk is, are the people willing to also take the risk? This is what happened in Brexit. They had a memorandum to see public opinion. Will people want this? And there, a lot of people did say yes. But now they have to deal with the future consequences, as well as their government has to step up. And that is the same with any government. Natural assets are one of the most important there is. Not because land doesn't get depleted, but because for humanity on a global scale, 7 billion people and rising, it is a scarce commodity. Just look at China. They have to build islands for certain infrastructure projects because they just don't have enough room anymore for people. People don't move as freely. Now, cities are generally populated, but one of the things about modern society is, of course, family planning, which had to be forced in China. They literally put it into legislation that you could only have one child or you get penalized. So that was breaking natural law in terms of the people, but they couldn't do much because the government is communist. Now, I'm not speaking about badly about China. I'm just trying to illustrate a point, and that point is that land is an important asset. One of the most important. One of the most important is people. If you don't invest in people, if you can't train people, if you can't, remaneuver how they think, if you can't um, bring them into new spheres of the world without alienating them, then you're making progress. But a lot of people do feel alienated because if you look back, smartphones like this, a touchscreen, have only been around for so long, and now people hardly remember the usual uh, cell phones with all those physical keys. And this is part of how um, change can be adapted positively if it's presented well and packaged well, which is the same with us. Instead of scattering for the latest problem and moving toward that newest problem and saying, no, this person is better off, that's why he's talking like that. No, that person doesn't know the struggle. No, if you didn't have this type of support, you wouldn't know. The thing is, if we don't see the problems for what they are, not that the system isn't working for certain people, but it isn't being lubricated. It's becoming completely dry and it's harder for it to work, right? That's what people generally are. At the end of the day, most people, majority, are workers of the land, right? So we turn land into something productive, and I think that was a very good illustration, and provides for quite a topic, which I want to keep short if I can. But I'm trying to simplify as much as I can. And no, I won't edit the video. It's what's real time is real time. What's live is live. So human capital needs to be developed, and the development kit is called skill set. You have a skill set, you look at the people you want to invest in, and you improve their skill set, and then afterwards you help them adapt to that new project that you've set up. Because taking everybody to school or university doesn't mean problems go away. There has to be a sort of end not end game, but a place of resolution where they can go and they can pay for their debt to society. This can be done in a lot of ways. I think a lot of people forget how big a role a person can play in society, because our challenges are so different, right? There are different challenges, just like there are different groups representing different values and problems, but coming together and having a bilateral sort of project. This encourages nationalism, this encourages participation. For example, the Silver Jubilee had people who, a lot of people attended, a lot of people were celebrating, and it wasn't just because of the the sort of day in itself. What made it so different was this acceptance that maybe we're in for something different, maybe we're in for something new. And that's what unites people. What unites people is a common struggle. But if people tend to categorize their troubles into too many different departments, then obviously resolution is going to be much, much harder. So what you want is people who disagree to agree on disagreeing, or find a common ground so that you can have balance. If there is no such thing as competition, athletes won't push themselves. So if there's no such thing as competition by way of society and so forth, people also won't push themselves. The benchmark is mostly given by the environment, place, and origin that people come from. But now that we have internet globally, except for some who block their people from internet for some reason, uh, so for hotspot shield, so for um, should I end it here? Seems a bit long. Yeah, I'll continue it in a while, but you get my drift.